All right, guys, welcome back to another video. It's your man Jay. So today we're going to be looking at my experience with the iPhone 14 Plus. Now, I actually bought this at launch, and it was a pre-order, I remember, and it didn't come out for another 30 days. So I went on ahead and pre-ordered, and I pre-ordered this blue color, which I thought was very beautiful, and I still like it. So I got this on the T-Mobile network. I pre-ordered. It came in just under 30 days, so right around 30 days, and I activated it, and it's been with that same phone number for the last 6 months minimum. I've never moved this phone number. I don't know how long I've had this phone, but however long this phone has been out, that's how long I've been using it. And this has been now I carry two devices, an Android and an iPhone. So I've been using an Android and an iPhone, and this has been like the iPhone of choice since I wanted to keep an Android phone on lock. So the network is T-Mobile that I'm using it on, and it has been no problems whatsoever on T-Mobile. I'm going to start with network because when I get a phone in for review, I try my best to use it for at least 30 days on the same network before taking the SIM card out. Well, if you know, this phone is eSIM only, so you cannot take the SIM card out because there's no SIM card to take out. So ultimately, this phone being eSIM only and being that this is my second line, it was super easy to not be tempted to switch the number to another phone for testing. So my second line is like my go-to line. I might keep this in the car or keep it on me at all times. So if I forget my main line, I got a backup. So this phone number and combination has been the same since I got the device. And I thought it would be a little bit of a drawback to have eSIM, but if I only had one phone number, then I guess it really wouldn't be a problem because I know plenty of people with one phone number and they're using eSIM and they don't really care. They're not testers. They're not reviewing a bunch of products, so it's okay for them. And that's kind of how I feel about my second line with this one. So the network on here, honestly enough, the network has been better. iPhones, in my experience, don't have the best signal on T-Mobile. In the past, I've had situations where the network was just so bad, I just had to take the SIM card and use something else. So I decided, I'm really going to take this phone through the elements and try to see how well it's going to handle load when traveling. And I've taken it with me out of town many places, and I haven't had any signal issues. Now, I did drop off in places where T-Mobile just didn't have service. All of my phones dropped service. And so that was a bummer, but T-Mobile still has a lot of areas to cover when they're talking about that they have the best 5G network or the biggest 5G network. Well, it doesn't matter if you can't have service. This is that point. That's simple. So overall, though, 99.9% of the time, this phone keeps service. It stays on 5G. As you can see, it'll switch between 5G and UC, which is their higher performing network for the faster speeds and connectivity. But overall, if this phone was 4G LTE only, it would have stellar service probably. It would probably have 5 bars because their 4G LTE network is even stronger today. So cell phone signal and any kind of calls and messages and things like that, no issues whatsoever. Now, the price of this device was $899. So a lot of people feel some type of way about paying $899 for this device. I paid less than half of that, but that's not the reason I got it. I mean, I just got it because I wanted the device. So obviously I get some pretty nice discounts or whatever. So it was a good deal for me, and I was going to buy it whether I got the discount or not, because I wanted to find out how good this will be to replace my iPhone 13 Pro Max. My blue one was replaced with this phone, and I'm happy that I did because the cameras are a lot better quality on this device, and I'll get to that later on. But the price of this is $899. A lot of people say this isn't a bad device. It's just not priced right. So, to offset that, if you were like me and you can get a really good deal on it, you really don't care. But also, if you're like me and you're a creator, you were going to get this and test it anyway, so you were going to pay the $899. Getting a nice discount through Apple is actually a really sweet deal, and I'm glad I can get those rewards and things like that. But the price is $899, and there are plenty of other devices that are $899 that are not as good. I would say they don't offer some of the things that this phone offers, especially in the camera and battery department and software. So camera, battery, and software, that alone makes this a little bit better than some other $899 devices. But price, it could be better to some people. I mean, but if Apple goes too low, they're going to, and I'm talking about in the Apple lineup, not the entire smartphone lineup, because obviously there are plenty of phones out there that cost less, and that perform just as good on battery and have really good cameras as well, and the software is solid Pixel. So this is a matter of just Apple's lineup. But the way they stagger their phones, they can't go too low on their brand new device. This is a brand new line for their phones. This is the Plus line that they've brought back. So price, could be $100 less. I don't know. Some people think it is what it is, but the good thing is you can get this in some good memory options, and that's a good point. So now, hardware wise, this is a beautiful device. It feels much better than the iPhone 13 Pro Max because it weighs less. And I think the color combinations look really good. I love the metals, the brush sides on here instead of the stainless steel. And I just feel like this is a beautiful device. Now, I don't like the camera situation, like where it's going to angle. It would have been cool just to keep them up and down like the 12, but I know they wanted to differentiate these from the 12, so they put it at an angle to match the 13s. It's just what it is. You can get this in several colors. You can even get this in a yellow right now. I don't know how I feel about that yellow, but somebody likes it because they made it. But this blue to me is one of the good colors, and that white looking color and the purple. Most of the colors look really good. But you can get this in different colors, and the hardware is pretty good, man. I mean, you still have the alert slider, you got your volume rocker, and power button on this side. And this is going to be probably more than 5G antenna. You got antenna lines all over this thing now, and then you got the speaker, microphone, and lightning port down there. And then it is still got the body shape of the 13 Pro, the 13 lineup with the cutout at the top. Unlike the 14s, it doesn't have the pill shape in the center. It has this cutout. But I'm hearing rumors that the next version of this phone, all of them are going to get the dynamic island. So we shall see about that, and I'll for sure check it out for you. But hardware-wise, the screen is same resolution as the iPhone 13 Pro Max. It just doesn't have 120 hertz, but I can't tell, man. I don't even notice the difference that much because it's a daily driver. So I'm not looking to see if I swipe, am I going to get the extra smoothness? I'm just not looking for that. So I really can appreciate what they've done with the hardware on this. They basically took the iPhone 13 Pro Max, gave it much better cameras, gave it a few features that it's not offered on the 13 Pro Max, and just gave the same beautiful screen. So yeah, the hardware on here is actually it's what it is. It's a premium feeling device, but it feels even better, like I said, than the 13 Pro Max and the 14 Pro Max because it's lighter in your pocket of your hand, so it feels really good. Now the cameras on here is something that I've shot. Let me see if I can pull up something here. Hold on. I've shot plenty of videos with this phone, and this is one of the latest ones. This video isn't out yet. It's on my car channel. It's of the R23 GMC. But there are plenty of videos on the channel, on my car channel and this channel. The car channel I've used it a lot with, but on this channel I've definitely used it. This is a photo I took about 4 or 5 days ago, of my new Cadillac that I bought, and it just takes great photos and video. Camera quality video is where this phone really shines. I mean, I genuinely like this phone for HDR video. HDR content that comes out of the iPhone 14, man, it's beautiful. It is beautiful. This is a beautiful camera setup on the iPhone. The video is so good. And I know this is why a lot of people feel like the iPhones have the best video. I'm going to say that HDR video on the iPhones is just phenomenal. I mean, when you go back and you look at this video I was taking inside the truck here, I mean, it's a beautiful video. The Dolby Vision, the HDR, the 4K, it's just good, man. I mean, there is nothing that I don't like about shooting video with this device. Cameras are hard to beat, folks. The iPhone has just phenomenal cameras, and I just don't know how a person could say that they don't have good cameras. But there are phones now that actually shoot, better video, and especially for audio quality. But the HDR content is where I lean heavily towards an iPhone. And if you notice on social media, A lot of people use iPhones for social media. You can always tell when someone uses an iPhone to shoot on Instagram or whatever other platforms people use because the HDR video simply pops. It is just beautiful. Who wouldn't want to watch HDR video if your device can do it? And it has always been good to me when it comes to that. I just love this photo. I think these photos just come out. They come out great. See how it adjusts, and then the HDR kicks in. The more vibrant punchiness of the photo kicks in. It is just a phenomenal set of cameras. These cameras have done me right in plenty of situations. Now, the great part about these cameras is that they are shooting at the highest resolution, just like the 14 Pro lineup. And you've got 4K HDR and you've got 4K 60. Now, Apple doesn't do 8K. I don't personally feel like we need 8K. But what I think Apple does do great is their 4K cinematic video now at 30 frames per second. Now, cinematic video is something that I feel like it's just the way people should vlog or people should shoot videos, because I think it really just brings the vlog to life. And I simply enjoy shooting outdoors with this device for HDR video and cinematic video. So the cameras, they've been great over the last 6 months of using this thing. It's been phenomenal. So the performance of this device, I mean, how could you go wrong with anything Apple's doing with their processors? A lot of phones will never catch up to this device when it comes to the processing power. A lot of companies can't catch Apple when it comes to the processing power of the devices. Apple can't catch Apple. Apple's not utilizing all the things that these internals and performance that they put together can do. So as a creator, the best I can do is, edit on it, vlog on it. For who I am as the creator that I am, it gets lots of attention like that. Editing, vlogging, editing, recording, record, edit, edit, record. You just get all these different, and I push it to the limit. It's always 4K, it's always 4K 60, it's always 4K 30 cinematic. I'm just pushing and pushing and pushing, and the phone never overheats. Just doesn't do it. Just won't do it. Apple put together a stellar setup for performance. The internals in here are unmatched by a lot of devices, but it's almost like it's overkill. No one can really get the gist of how they're going to take advantage of such a great performing device. That's just what it is. So the last thing I want to talk about is battery. Now, this is something that Apple has pretty much always been great at on their 13 Pro lineup. The 13 Pro has some of the best battery on any freaking device. It is just known. When I got the 14 Pro Max, it wasn't matching the 13 Pro Max's battery, but I didn't give it a chance to break in. I'll admit, I didn't give it a chance to get settled in enough. I kept it for a month or something, and then I got rid of it. And the 14 Pro, it just didn't have the capacity for me. It just didn't do it. So I went back to the 13 Pro Max and the 13 Pro. My 13 Pro gets killer battery still to this day. I still have the 13 Pro. I have the 1 terabyte 13 Pro, and it still flows right along. Also, still great cameras, and because it has the extra lens for the telephoto, so I have it in my little battery pack. When I got to do some serious riding out, I'm popping this bad boy on if I'm gonna be doing something for the weekend or something. But yeah, battery life unmatched. You've got, if you take away the 120 hertz display, some of the features that people really think this phone should have for the price, you're just going to tax the battery just a little bit more than likely. But Apple put together a winner, folks. I know some people kind of shy away from this phone just because of the price, and they keep saying, oh, you could just get $100 more and get this. I hear you. But I've already broken down this phone and gave a complete comparison against the 13 Pro Max, and I've shown everybody why this phone is a smart purchase for a lot of people, and why the 13 Pro Max isn't better. But nonetheless, this is a real, honest review of the iPhone 14 Plus. If you haven't checked this out yet, upgrade to it. Go from the 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, even 13. Go take your pick. Upgrade to this, I think you'll be plenty happy with the battery, performance, the screen, the cameras, the hardware you already know. So I think you'll be happy with it. Take a chance. It's your man Jay, real honest review. Take care.